Hello, everyone. Welcome to Motivation Every Day, a place where we share inspiring knowledge for complete personal development through great books. Have you ever experienced something like this? Today, you feel incredibly happy because your entire morning was super productive. You stayed focused on handling an important task, achieved satisfying results, and didn't feel tired at all. Or maybe when reading a book you love or doing something you're passionate about, you poured your entire mind and heart into it, forgetting everything around you. Time seemed to stop flowing, and after finishing, a profound sense of joy filled you. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls this state the experience of optimal flow. He explained the concept of flow in detail. When an individual becomes fully absorbed in an activity, an intense feeling of exhilaration and deep satisfaction emerges. At that moment, every thought and action flows together smoothly, like a stream of water. Your potential is unleashed to the fullest. Flow is the catalyst on everyone's journey of growth. When you focus deeply and step into flow, you meet an incredibly powerful version of yourself. If you're someone who's striving to improve and grow every day, this book will be absolutely essential for you. Stepping through the door of focus, returning to yourself. Jim Quick, author of Limitless, conducted a survey and found that most successful CEOs often maintain a peak state. When they're in that state, their productivity is 4 times higher than usual. And what is that peak state? It's the experience of flow. In the book, Mihaly also shared an interesting case study. There was an ordinary factory worker working on the assembly line. He found his job boring and often showed up to work distracted, his mind wandering to unrelated worries, worrying about a flat tire, stressing over broken appliances at home, even recalling gossip he had heard. He could barely keep up with his colleagues. Eventually, he got reprimanded, had his wages docked, and his work life went downhill. In contrast, another worker in the same factory genuinely loved his job. Instead of chatting or daydreaming, he found joy in his work every single day. Immersed in the tasks, he felt a surge of excitement, pushing him to think about how to work faster and better. Normally, assembling a unit took around 43 seconds. Determined to break records, he practiced daily with complete focus. Gradually, he became able to maintain high concentration, unaffected even by playful banter around him. Finally, in an undistracted state of pure focus, he cut his assembly time down to 28 seconds, earning recognition and rewards from his superiors. This story shows that even under the same conditions, in the same environment, 2 people can have completely different outcomes. The difference lies in the ability to block out distractions, stay focused, and experience work through the lens of flow. Russian educator Ushinsky once said, "Focus is the only gateway to the soul. Everything in your consciousness must pass through focus to reach the inner self." Focus is the beginning of all psychological activities. It's the foundation for your brain's operation. If you can't open the door to focus, you'll lose connection with your inner consciousness. You won't know what potential you hold, who you can become, or what kind of life you're meant to live. Moreover, as Mihaly said, the reason your life isn't turning out the way you want is because of chaos. Research shows that whenever we do something without focus, psychic entropy occurs. Entropy disrupts your mind, dissolving your sense of self, lowering both your learning and work performance. Thus, If you want to grow, you must fight entropy by increasing the density of your flow experiences, doing it frequently and deliberately. And the first step to achieving flow? Complete focus. Beyond building intense focus, the second core element to experiencing flow is being able to devote yourself completely to a single task. But here's the big question. What kind of task allows us to truly focus and immerse ourselves? Mihaly explained that flow only happens when you're doing something that's not too hard, but not too easy either. If the task is too difficult, you'll give up. If it's too easy, you'll get bored. In the book, The Awakening of Consciousness, it is emphasized that the best zone for learning and growth lies at the edge of the comfort zone. This means you need to gently step out of your comfort zone. Create small challenges for yourself, but don't push too far. Operate within the nearby zone, where you still have control. Your actions will feel natural, smooth, and easy. While doing it, you'll feel comfortable, not frustrated. And when you finish, you'll get quick feedback and experience a deep sense of satisfaction. This satisfaction isn't just surface level, like, oh, nice, I finished the task. It's a profound inner fulfillment. In other words, your mind and actions must harmonize. There shouldn't be any internal conflict. For instance, if you force yourself to chase big money by doing work you secretly disapprove of, maybe selling things you don't believe in, even if you hit all your targets, you won't feel truly satisfied inside. You might experience short-term dopamine hits that push you to chase higher status, more recognition. But when you get there, you'll still feel empty. As Mihaly pointed out, chasing insatiable greed will never lead you to a state of flow. Thus, choose work that isn't driven by greed. Pick something challenging, but not overwhelmingly hard. When you do that, combined with high focus, you'll feel time melt away. You'll forget yourself, and you'll find yourself flowing. This is when you're truly living in a state of flow. However, you might wonder, doesn't that mean I can only reach flow if I love what I'm doing? What if I don't like my work? There's a beautiful quote from Eeyore, Under the Green Roof. If you decide you're going to have a good time, you can always have a good time. But if you believe from the start that it won't be fun, then nothing will ever feel fun. Mihaly suggests that you find work you love and are passionate about, so that you can naturally devote yourself completely and easily enter flow. And yes, if you're lucky enough to be doing work you love, that's amazing. Treasure it, nurture it, and keep growing with it. But realistically, not everyone has the luxury of working in their dream job. In that case, Life is Worthwhile offers this advice. If you can't change your destiny, then learn to love the work you currently have. Author Meyer Lee also concluded, when you no longer care so much about external events and simply change the contents of your inner consciousness, you can choose whether to feel happy or miserable. In fact, even with the most ordinary work, if you focus completely and create flow experiences, you can make it meaningful and fulfilling for yourself. In other words, negative emotions like boredom, laziness, or frustration don't stem from the task itself. They come from mistaken beliefs and subjective judgments. Even if you dislike your current work, you can find joy in it by fulfilling two conditions. Start with a positive attitude. Stop complaining. Stop seeing the work as a burden or hardship. Tell yourself you like the work. For example, if you're scared of math, as suggested in Learning How to Learn, You must first change your belief. Math isn't scary. I love math. Similarly, in tiny habits, it's emphasized that before forming any habit, you must build your identity. Imagine yourself as an expert in that field. Your identity will naturally guide your behavior, helping you overcome fear and form positive actions. This aligns with another technique suggested by Mihaly, purposeful daydreaming. Not the kind of aimless fantasy, but intentional self-suggestion with purpose. We often see this among successful people. A perfect example is Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, who stands at 6 feet 6 inches, 198 centimeters. When Jordan was in high school, he was only 5 feet 9 inches, 175 centimeters, and was even cut from his school's basketball team for being too short. His father and siblings were all of average height. From a genetic standpoint, Jordan had little chance of growing tall. But Jordan passionately loved basketball and constantly whispered to himself, "Grow taller, grow taller." Every day, he visualized himself getting taller. He practiced intensely, jumping rope, hanging from bars, stretching, eating nutritious foods. And incredibly, within a year and a half, he grew from 5 feet 9 inches to 6 feet 3 inches, 190 centimeters, allowing him to join his school's team and launch his legendary career. You see, dreaming properly is about visualizing, self-suggesting, and taking action. Without action, imagination is just empty fantasy. Effective self-suggestion must have clear goals and a step-by-step plan. The final key to entering a state of flow is discovering flow even in solitude. After studying thousands of cases, author Mihaly came to a profound conclusion. Anyone who knows how to find a state of flow in life can find joy even in the most desperate circumstances. He shared the story of an elderly woman in her 60s. After her husband passed away and her children grew up and moved away, she lived alone on a remote island. The impermanence of life and death, combined with the silence of loneliness, left her feeling utterly helpless. She often sighed or cried, overwhelmed by memories of her husband and children. The endless, sleepless nights made every minute feel unbearably heavy. But then, in an attempt to ease her pain, she started reading the many books her husband had left behind on the shelves. She began writing and sketching her thoughts. Unexpectedly, the rich stories and perspectives she encountered opened up a vast, spiritual world within her. In that world, she could forget time, forget sorrow. These wonderful, expansive experiences reignited her passion for life. Besides reading and writing, she planted flowers and trees, raised animals. Near her home, she even posted signs with jokes she wrote or drawings she made, guiding visitors to her cottage. She no longer allowed idle thoughts or negative emotions to consume her. Her spirit grew stronger day by day. Even though she lived alone, she didn't feel empty or helpless. Why? Because flow continuously filled the empty spaces inside her, shielding her from unnecessary emotional wounds. Flow allowed her to continue expanding her mind and spirit, even during the final chapter of her life. You'll see, solitude, when embraced properly, becomes a precious opportunity to discover flow. Philosopher Schopenhauer once said, "Only when alone can one truly become oneself." When we are alone, we finally have the chance to calm down, focus on a single task, and fully savor joy. This is high-quality solitude. However, in today's information-saturated world, most people don't know how to be alone or how to enjoy solitude. Left alone, many immediately reach for their phones, binge watch shows, or dive into games, desperately trying to fill the void. Their minds keep fluttering from one anxiety to another. According to the author, the root cause is a lack of strong inner discipline. Year after year, we grow lazy, and psychic entropy, the inner chaos, worsens. To counter entropy, we must learn to embrace solitude and color our lives through flow experiences. The author writes, "Almost any activity in life can create flow. Climbing mountains, baking, learning to dance, gardening, sewing your own clothes, crafting things from recycled materials, and so on. These simple hobbies outside of busy daily work become a sanctuary of flow for the mind, soothing complicated emotions, recalibrating and strengthening the soul. A person capable of self-healing, of bouncing back after hardships, is someone who, even when alone and with nothing to do, can still find something meaningful to engage in. Rather than blindly chasing external rewards, they stay focused on enriching themselves, filling their lives with countless meaningful, vibrant moments." But here's an important reminder. Enjoying life must not turn into addiction. Do not become a slave to chasing pleasure. To prevent mental chaos, you must maintain balance in life. Remember, anything taken to the extreme can spiral out of control and generate negative emotions. Besides solitude, the author points out 2 more ways to easily experience flow. Appreciate art. When you consistently improve your ability to perceive beauty, you can easily slip into a state of flow. For example, when you listen to music mindfully and with full concentration, the vibrations of your soul rise, resonating with the rich, moving sounds, helping you step into an optimal experience. Engage in physical movement. Physical movement is a fantastic way to relieve stress. When you push the limits of your body, negative emotions like fatigue, frustration, dissatisfaction are released through sweat. What's left is a lighter body and a freer soul, making it easier for you to enter a flow state and lift yourself from sorrow. There's a quote from Flow that I truly love. "Anyone who can persist through suffering and failure will turn their life into an unceasing flow, a series of focused, orderly, and profoundly meaningful experiences, brimming with joy, born from inner order." On the journey to find flow, you will inevitably face loneliness, boredom, and struggle. But know this, those hardships are only temporary. They are necessary challenges for your growth. So, set clear goals, focus intensely, love the work you're doing, devote yourself completely, be patient and persevere. And one day, with the help of flow, you will become stronger than ever on your path of personal development. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to leave us a like, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our weekly episodes. Once again, thank you, and see you in the next video.